You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From Los Angeles, California, and Maria Menounos, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV Spotlight On. Spotlight On is a long-form interview series featuring actors and TV personalities. And now, from the world's #1 TV after-show platform, this is AfterBuzz TV Spotlight On.
If you get in trouble, bring it home to me.
Hello, AfterBuzz fans. Kevin Undergaro here, and if you're a fan of AfterBuzz TV's Bar Rescue, you will know what that theme song is for. The great Sammy Davis Jr. singing "You Can Count on Me." I am, once again, Kevin Undergaro, and I'm with John Taffer, the host of Bar Rescue, one of my personal idols. For all of the stars I've met in Hollywood, literally the person I was most excited to meet, and it's almost very surreal to be sitting across from you today.
Well, it's great to be sitting. I've been watching you talk about me for months now, so it's nice to be able to sit here and talk back at you, Kev.
It's crazy. And for those of you who aren't a fan of Bar Rescue and you're just a fan of the Spotlight series, well, let me tell you, John is the world's #1 expert in bar and restaurant science. He's the creator and host of Spike TV's #1 rated show, Bar Rescue. He's the author of the best-selling book, Raise the Bar, which we'll talk about tonight. He's the host of the upcoming Spike TV series, Hungry Investor. He's the founder of Taffer TV and the creator of multiple multimedia self-help business manuals. And just the list goes on and on. Literally, when I was writing the intro, I said, okay, I have to just stop this at some point. It's really something, and I'm so blessed. We're blessed to have the show at AfterBuzz because the Bar Rescue Show, again, if you're not a fan, but if you are a fan of learning about small business and learning about success, it's a great manual every week.
Well, thanks. You know, it's so autobiographical, Kev. I mean, it's really what I do in real life and the lessons that I've learned from 35 years of doing it. But when I did the show, it was important to me that I did a smart show. I didn't want to do a T&A bar show.
Right.
And I wanted there to be takeaways. I wanted to educate. I wanted to inspire. That was my goal. So, I get emails from people every month telling me that I did inspire them and I did affect their business. Nothing feels better than that, Kevin.
And it's green. Those shows, these shows are highly repeated, but anyone can pick them right back up. I mean, I've watched them. Usually I've seen each episode about twice, sometimes 3 times. And I'm always getting something new. And we're going to talk about how I even want to know the steps it took to get this show on the air. But going through doing the research on you, I was also blown away by the fact that you invented the concept for NFL Sunday Ticket.
I did.
Can you speak to that?
Sure. It's actually a really interesting story. Years ago, I've had a consulting practice for years, and we would do sometimes consulting work for companies that wanted to get into the bar business as a supplier. And a company called ComSat out of Maryland who manages satellites. Also, Intellisat was another company of theirs. They manage government satellites, too. So they would manage all satellite communications. They came up with the idea of something called out-of-market sports programming. So you sitting in Los Angeles, you could buy the Dallas Cowboys signal for your satellite dish at home, and then there were those big analog satellite dishes.
Right.
And you could buy that Dallas Cowboys signal. So they had this idea of selling out-of-market sports program around the country. So they hired my company to do the research for them. And the first thing they asked me to do was, A, is this sellable? What would a bar pay for this? So we got paid a lot of money, did about a 100-page analysis of the profitability of bars and restaurants, what they could afford to pay for this, how we would bill them, and what we thought the potential cash flow of it was. And we said it was very feasible. They read our report and said, this is great. Now do another one for us and tell us what it looks like. What does the bar operator need? So then we put together another document that defined what the product was. And at that time, a technology broke called compression, which allowed you to put multiple channel signals on one transponder.
Oh, wow.
So you didn't need 8 satellite dishes anymore to receive 8 signals. You could receive
And
8 signals.
I remember this as a bar goer,
So-
seeing this transition from 8 satellite dishes to 1.
Yes. So that compression changed this from an opportunity. So they asked me to put together a document as what the product is, not only on screen, but ad slicks, promotional tools, all the things that a bar operator would need to make it profitable. So we put that document together, got paid a lot of money and gave them that. Then they came back a third time and said, do one more for us, John. Who do we sell it to? So then we did another 100-page or so document of all the companies in the world they could sell it to, the Fridays of the world, companies like that. And they took my 3 documents, ComSat, went to the NFL, showed them my work, and asked the NFL if they could buy the rights to the signal. The NFL read my document, said, wow, this is pretty good stuff, said no to ComSat, and put me on the advisory board of NFL Enterprises. Then sitting on a board of NFL Enterprises for 3 years, I rolled out the product. It became Sunday Ticket. We took advantage of compression, all the ad slicks, the packaging, everything was put together. We created it. And then we rolled it out, and when we rolled it out, it was initially only available commercially. Only bars got it in the beginning.
I remember.
We didn't get it at home till quite a while, and that was the concept of NFL Sunday Ticket. So I tell people I didn't invent it per se, because the idea of out-of-market sports programming existed, but I conceived it. I created what it is today.
And to me, it's incredible because that's so far away from this is how to set up your bar. And, you know, and just again, which is why it speaks to you, who you are. I'm hoping what we reveal in this interview and for what I see for you down the line. So when you talk about, we're talking about 100-page documents that you're creating. Going back to your studies, you attended the University of Denver to study political science.
And went for 2 years and skied most of it.
And then from there, I know you started playing around with music, and that got you into the bar business. What I'm just really blown away is how do you create 100-page documents and some of the things that you talk about raise the bar, some of these systems that are so well thought out and described. Where does that come from? Without the high-end education, you didn't go to Wharton, you didn't go to Harvard or an Ivy League school.
I'll tell you this too. This will shock you. I've never been to a management seminar in my life.
It doesn't.
I've never read a management book in my life.
It doesn't shock me because it's in my notes. I was like, it shocked me when I read it.
You know, I've always felt that you know, I wanted to make my own determinations, my own views. I'm a bit of a nutcase because I analyze everything. I love human behavior. When I did go to college, and I did actually go to classes in college, the classes that interested me the most were cultural anthropology, the study of primates and animal societies and what causes people to do things. For example, about 70% of people that walk into a mall make a right-hand turn. Why? That haunts me, Kevin. I want to figure out how to make a frickin' left turn.
Or even capitalize on why they're taking that right.
But I'm going to take that human behavior and figure out a way to make money from it. So I've always been inspired by monetizing and improving human behavior, causing you to have a better time than you normally would, in essence.
And so one of the things it seemed like, as I know you didn't learn this from college, and you said this in another interview, your relationship with your mom.
Yeah. My mother was extremely tough and a little violent, and I lost her 2 years ago. She was a great mom, made me who I am today, so don't read any negativism into this. But the fact of the matter is, if I did something wrong, I knew it. I felt it, I heard it. And I learned at a young age that if I had the ability to manipulate my mother's moods, get her to react to the moment differently, if I could make her smile, I was home free. If I could keep her happy, I was home free. If I allowed her mood to go to a bad place, I was in trouble. So at a very young age, I learned to be a little manipulative. And I, about at 20 years old, came up with this term, reaction management.
Of course.
Which I own. And
which is all through the book. And by the way, we see every week on Bar Rescue, but please speak to reaction management.
And the principle of reaction management, and I'll simplify it to a plate of food. The cook in the kitchen of a restaurant might think he's making an entree. He's not. He's making a human reaction. The product is not the entree. The product is the reaction. The entree is the vehicle, not the product. And every restaurateur in the world who thinks the product that he sells is the plate of food, I suggest is dead wrong. And here's why. You go out to dinner tonight with Maria. The two of you are sitting at a table. Plates of food hit the table. One of two things happens, Kevin. Either you sit up and look at it and react to it, or nothing happens. If nothing happens, that restaurant is stuck in mediocrity forever. So it's not the plate, it's the reaction that makes me money. So we don't serve food, we serve reactions. We achieve it through food. I don't play music, I play reactions. I achieve it through music. I'm not doing an interview right now. I'm creating reactions. I'm doing it through an interview. Let's face it, if AfterBuzz TV makes lousy reactions, there is no AfterBuzz TV.
No AfterBuzz TV.
You're not in the TV business, you're in a reaction business. Everything we do in life has to do with managing the reactions of people around us. That's how I sell you things. That's how I create fear. That's how I create motivation. It's all reactions. So at a young age, due to the way I was raised, I learned how to manage the reactions of people around me. It became, at first it was conscious, then it became unconscious. It became subliminal within my brain.
Just because so much practice of it.
Yes. When somebody's body language changes, my brain knows it. And I start changing topics. I start shaking my head, yes, to get you to agree with me. I react to your body language in real time. And it's something that has just developed over years. So I am so comfortable with managing your reactions that I'll play with them. I'll get you pissed. I'll get you angry because I know I can manage you back.
So I want to talk more about reaction management as this goes along. But one of the things that I want to talk about, some of the facts that took place in your career, particularly a nightclub called Pulsations in Philadelphia. You talk about it in your book. I've read it about in some interviews. I was fascinated by the level of detail you put into that club. And it almost seemed like your first major example of managing a reaction. Can you tell us about it and about the, was it Aruba, North Spaceship?
The Pulsations was opened in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania, which was outside of Philadelphia. We spent about $16 million and created what we believed was the greatest nightclub in the world at the time. 7 different levels. And there's a Facebook page called Pulsations Nightclub that has pictures and videos and such on it that people might want to go to. It lives after all these years. And Pulsations had about 8 levels, all mezzanines looking down into a main room, held about 4,000 people. And every night, a 27-foot, 4-ton spaceship would fly into this nightclub with 70 lighting systems on it. And it would hover with subharmonics. Your pants would be shaking. Your chest would be shaking from the sounds. It would come down to 12 feet over the dance floor. Doors would open in the center. Dry ice fog billowed out. And a $400,000 robot came out of the spaceship. The robot then rolled out onto the dance floor, looked around and said, "Wow, check this place out." And that robot was leased from us for Rocky IV. It was Pulsar, who was in that movie.
Yeah, Paulie's robot.
Yes, of course, Paulie's robot. And I'll tell you, there was an interesting thing about Pulsations. One of the opening nights, I'm standing on the dance floor. When the spaceship came out, we had a bunch of security guys on the floor to protect the robot and such. And I'm standing under the spaceship, Kevin, and the robot's coming out, and I look to my left, and my robot operator is standing there, and he controlled it with his hands in his pocket. And I noticed there's tears going down his face. And then I looked at the other security people standing there, and there were tears going down their face. And then I realized there were tears going down my face. And standing under that spaceship and watching this robot and the frenzy of this crowd, Kevin, that was as close to a religious experience as I have ever come in my life, and it was delivered by technology. It was so powerful that my entire life I've tried to duplicate it, create those kinds of reactions.
And
again, the video's online. People should watch it.
How involved were you in the design of the?
Oh, I worked on the initial design work. You know, I created it, opened up. You know, we worked with great design firms who created the skin of the robot. We worked with.
But you knew you wanted a spaceship and a robot.
We knew the theme that we wanted. You bet, and the concept that we wanted. The concept of Pulsations was movement. There was a bar in the center of the room on a platform that moved 1 foot a minute, 80 feet back and forth across the room. So you and
your intention, your design from the beginning.
So you would drink a beer, look up, and you're on the other side of the room. Walls that you saw 1 minute ago were gone. Other walls would appear. The concept of Pulsations was movement. Lighting came up and down out of ceilings. Speakers came up and down from floors. Spaceships came in and out of these garages up in ceilings. There were small spaceships that came back and forth to protect the mothership. It was it was deep. And it was an incredible project. And that project, by the way, could have killed me, but it didn't, and here's why. There was a book written by Herman Hesse years ago. I forget what it was. It might have been Sid Arthur, I think, or Narcissus and Goldman, about an artist who at 14 years old created a masterpiece. And he looks at this painting, Kevin, and he says to himself, I can never do anything better than this. And his life was over.
Wow.
When I was young, I got to spend $16 million and create what I still believe is the greatest nightclub in the world.
That was your Citizen Kane.
Where do you go from there? You bet. That was my Citizen Kane. So I had to really take my life to a level above that and move forward. But that was an amazing experience.
Tell us, so we spoke earlier, tell me how Bar Rescue comes to air.
Bar Rescue actually was, I've been in my business for a long time, and I give a lot of speeches around the world, and at the Nightclub and Bar Convention in Las Vegas, which is, by the way, in 2 weeks, March 24th to 26th, which is, I'm one of the founders of it 29 years ago. I'm the president of it. I'm its most popular speaker over the years, and I have a very good speaking following. And I'm giving a speech, and somebody comes up to me one day and says, you got to be on TV. So I thought about it. We wrote up a treatment to a show that wasn't called Bar Rescue. It was Bar Rescue, but it had a different name at the time. And we wrote up the treatment, and we got a couple of friends to shoot a sizzle reel. So I got a small bar here in LA. I got one camera, one microphone, one light, and I got the employees to work with me, and I did a 3-minute sizzle reel. And the sizzle reel was me walking into the bar, screaming and yelling at employees for a couple of minutes, looking at the owner, saying the bar is positioned incorrectly, doing a quick couple of things to the bar, and at the end of the sizzle reel, it was packed with Pittsburgh Steelers fans. We shot that 3-minute sizzle reel, and I sent it to 5 companies here in Hollywood. I got 3 offers in a week. Wow. And this is really only about, Kevin, 4 to 5 weeks after coming up with the idea, writing it up and shooting. It was a short period of time.
And I was just going to tell you, people from home, so as much as this may inspire you to do this on your own, hopefully it does, but know that the odds, it usually doesn't go this way. Usually you spend a year and a half trying to develop, shoot, sell, and then it's almost like winning the lottery to get a show on the air.
So I got 3 offers. So I do my homework on the 3 companies. One company I didn't want to work with. I just didn't get a good feeling for them. The other company I chose not to, and I picked 3 Ball. It was a great company. They do The Biggest Loser, Master Chef, and a bunch of other shows. So I signed with 3 Ball, and to this day, and I hope they're listening because you guys are busted, I know they had the show sold before they signed me. And they didn't say it at the time because they pushed and pushed, and I signed the contract. And after I signed the contract with 3 Ball, Spike picked up the show 4 days later.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
So we shot the pilot. About 2 months later, we were picked up for season 1. And from the time that we came up with the idea to do the show to the premiere of the first episode was a little under a year. Which is really, I'm told, about
amazing.
as fast as it gets.
Yeah, no, it's
and I was lucky. I think my timing was right, Kev.
Here's a concern as a fan of the show. Now that you're so famous, the show's so famous, has it hurt the creative in this way, in the respect that some of the people, when you come in, they know what you're going to say. They almost know how they need to react, or they don't want to look foolish, and they kind of go along. It seems like they're starting to go along more. What do we do to get around that, to keep the show with the rawness of the first 2 seasons, the earlier seasons?
Bar Rescue is, I hear you loud and clear.
Right.
And fortunately, we figured out a way to navigate through that. And let me talk about it for a moment. We get about 1,000 bars each year that submit that they want to be on Bar Rescue. So we'll go through those 1,000 bars, and we'll pick out, based upon the cities, because we need to do a couple in each city to make the economics work. So we figure out which cities we want to go to. We'll narrow that list down to 50 or 60 bars. We'll then get on the phone with each one, confirm, A, that they're not felons and stuff, so we do a background check. B, we want to confirm that they are, in fact, losing money, that they're not hustling me for a remodel.
Yeah.
Third, we want to make sure that some stakes, there's a house on the line, there's a family involved, that there's, a reason why I want to fight for this person, that there really are some stakes on the line.
Yeah.
And once we determine those things, we send a producer there with 1 camera, and he interviews every staff member for about 30 seconds to a minute. Really quick. Kevin, what's your name? What do you do here? How long have you worked here? What do you think of so-and-so? And it's quick. And what will happen is the network and I will look at those casting reels, and we'll determine which characters are the most compelling. which individuals we think are the most compelling stories for the audience. And what's interesting is when they do those little reels, often they'll talk about me. And it's fun. And now that they know who I am,
Right.
they'll say stuff like, I can't wait till Taffer gets here. I'm going to be the one who kicks his ass.
Right. Oh, God.
Or they'll say, I can't wait for John to get here. He's going to see that I'm doing this right, and this isn't my fault. They all seem to have some self-justifying reason to believe that they're the one who's not going to get screamed at.
Okay, good.
Or they're the one.
I'm glad.
And if we sense in those reels that they're at that place, then we don't do it. The other secret to it, Kevin, is that we've mixed it up. And you've seen that. We've done surprise stress tests, nice one. So sometimes they think I'm coming. They think there's a 50-50 shot that I'm coming. But they think that if I'm coming a couple of days later.
Right.
So if they know I'm coming, I'm still showing up early. Or I'm showing up late. They think I'm coming yesterday. I didn't show up. So now they think it's over. I show up the next day. So we are really mixing it up.
You got to. I think you have to. But listen, it's a high-class problem. You wanted the show to be successful. But at the same time, the rawness of some of those episodes, those first 2 or 3 seasons where, I mean, come on. I don't want to get into, okay, so I'm at 20 minutes in Pirates.
By coincidence, we're premiering tonight.
Right.
Our new season. And I will tell you that the 10 episodes in this season are every bit as dynamic from a character standpoint as any you've ever seen. And tonight's episode will show you exactly what I mean.
Well, obviously, I'm not missing any.
But you'll see what I mean tonight.
Okay.
How the original dynamics and energy of the show hasn't changed. We've mixed up the format a little to catch the employees by surprise. But you know what, Kev? They're real employees. They're real bar owners. They land on their opinions. They land on their beliefs. They land on their own mistakes on their own. And I just exploit those moments.
So many of them, it does come down to that, I want to open a bar. And what we always conclude on our AfterBuzz TV after show, Bar Rescue after show, is just take the $100,000 and refinish your basement and make your little bar and have your friends over.
Yes, I have to acknowledge Pirates. You said it. I can't.
Yeah, the Pirates episode is, again, for you people who are just fans of Spotlight On and not necessarily Bar Rescue, please check out Bar Rescue. The Pirates episode could be the best half hour of reality television you'll ever see in your life. Every single show that I do, I can't help it. It gets referenced either 30 seconds in or 40 minutes in. It doesn't matter. 20 minutes in this show.
I will tell you this, and I would never lie to you. There's an episode this season that blows Pirates away.
Oh, my God.
There is.
All right.
You will see it.
All right.
And after you see it, you will tell, that's the one he was talking about. You'll know it when you see it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stick to it. John, switching gears a little bit, I always find it so inspiring. Someone like you who's in your early 50s, and this is a complete career change for you to go from being super successful as a businessman, but now super successful as a TV star and personality, which has opened so many more doors and it's just been a big life changer.
You bet.
I feel like now more than ever, we have people in their from mid 30s to even mid 60s who feel as though, you know what, I missed my shot, but I want to get back in there. I still feel that there's a fire in me to do something different, to achieve a greater thing in life. I think my dad's generation was, we'll go to work every day, we come home, that's it. It's like, hey, I wish I had done this in my life, but it's never, I still need to try and make this happen. I feel like today's 35 to 65-year-olds are saying, I still need to make this happen. What advice do you have to them where this has happened for you? Do you have any general advice you could give them?
The most exciting things in life are what's new. Think of when you're going on a vacation. You're not on a vacation now. You're going to go on a vacation. That change, the newness, the shift is exciting. Think of the excitement when you have a new job when you're young. That night before, the excitement, the anticipation, because it's new, it's something added to your life. If you don't have newness in your life, you lose life's essence. You have to have the next project to look forward to, the next promotion to look forward to, the next opportunity to look forward to, the next friend to look forward to. If you don't have that, then all you have is a logistical life, mechanical life. remember, the greatest excitement are the new things that we're about to do.
So the general note is just be open to new things, new friends, new
Not be open
experiences.
to them. Find them, seek them,
seek.
hunt them, make them a part of your life. Understand that, boy, if I'm doing something and I'm looking forward to next month, I have a month of excitement until it happens. Right. That's inspiring. That gets your blood flowing. That's what makes us who we are. So if there's no next battle, why be a soldier?
Right, right. So it's just going out, it's finding those things and knowing that in the long run, good things will come.
It's committing yourself to finding those things and saying, I'm going to make my life better by finding more opportunities, more friends, and more situations to uplift my life, to add newness and freshness. I mean, it's so simple. You go out, you buy a new sport jacket, you love it, you're excited to wear it. I mean, if you never buy any new clothes, you're never excited about a piece of new clothes. I mean, it's a silly analogy, but it's true.
No, it's great. The general one that a limo driver of all people taught me years ago was, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Exactly right.
But this is better. Now I'm inspired because that's even more specific. Bar Rescue is an example of you following your own dreams and your own instincts and not other people's. Okay, because you had said in an interview that if you were to fail, you wanted to do it because of you and not because of someone else.
That's right.
Okay, and so I totally relate to that. You further said, don't let someone else steer your life. I see this a lot in our business in Hollywood, whether it's filmmaking or doing a TV show or even writing a book. As the artist, you're constantly getting notes and you're constantly getting people saying, don't do this, you can't do that, there's no money in filmmaking, all these different things. And you're constantly in that position of saying, F you, I know better, I want to fail on my own. However, as I've gotten older, I've noticed there are times that you fail because you didn't listen to other people. And as we see on your show every week, when they don't listen to you, we're so frustrated. So where do you find the balance?
You know, it's funny, I was working on a new show, and I had somewhat of a creative disagreement with somebody on that show. And they said to me, John, trust me. The answer is I do trust you. Absolutely, 100%. I just trust myself more. So you got to have an open mind to the advice of people around you, Kevin. You know, I'm often asked, who are my mentors? I have no mentors. I really can't tell you that there's a mentor that has really led my life or impacted me that much. There are people who have said things that have impacted me very much. Right? Quotes that you've heard me say before. If you do tomorrow what you did today, you'll get tomorrow what you got today. That's profound.
Yes.
If I want a bigger car, more friends, a bigger house, a week in Tahiti, I better do something different tomorrow or my life doesn't change. You know, when Ben Franklin said insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. I mean, that's freaking deep, man.
Right.
So I can't say that Ben Franklin was a mentor to me, but things he said really impacted who and what I am. So you got to listen. You got to listen. And the problem that some people have, and I see it all too much, and particularly in this town, is if it's not your idea, you're not going to do it. Not you, I'm being
No, I understand. I deal with it all the time.
So I'm a manipulative guy. So I'm going to make you think it's your idea.
Right.
I'm going to bring it to you, pull it out of you, make you think it's your idea, get you to buy into it one way or another. Kevin, if I listened to the people around me, Bar Rescue wouldn't exist.
But that's an example where you had to fight through. See, I think what we could offer the listeners is the flip, which is, don't be afraid to embrace someone else's idea.
Oh.
Because I'll get pitched ideas here all the time. And if it's great for the network, if it's great for the business of Maria Menounos, I'm in. I don't care if it's not mine.
You bet.
I'm all in.
A great idea is a great idea. You're right. We make money off ideas. We don't make money off whose idea it is. We make money off common ideas that we can all make money on. You're absolutely right.
So is it seeing the big picture, maybe?
But that's self-confidence. It's self-confidence. Sometimes ego gets in the way. You know, I'm tough on TV. I get that. And I'm pretty tough in real life. You know me.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is I don't know it all, man. Matter of fact, there's times that I don't know a lot about a lot of things. And I learn every freaking day. And, you know, I embrace what other people share with me, the experience, the education. I embrace it and then I exploit it. So I want to take an idea you give me. I want that baby. I'm going to massage it, turn it into something I can exploit, and then I'm going to make money off it. At the end of the day, it might have been your idea, but it's my freaking money.
Right. So it's embraced. So it sounds like it's having confidence, not being cocky, and a level of humility.
But I think there's a commonality to what you're saying. If you're not open to that, then you're not open to new projects. You're not open to new things in your life.
Back to that.
You're back to the same point. It's a state of mind. If you're open to new projects, new things, advancing your life, making more money, getting to the next level, then you have to be open to new ideas to get there.
Okay.
So I think it's a mentality of this closed-minded, I'm going to stay in my box, that locks people into mediocrity for the rest of their lives.
Oh, my God.
And we see it every day.
Every day.
And they have great potential, but they can't step out of that frickin' box. And it's because they won't take that chance, or they won't listen.
They won't listen
to the advice.
There's a bounce.
It's a common trait.
So speaking of, hearing just all these great nuggets that I take from you that maybe you've created on your own, you've taken from other people. Maria's, my girlfriend's always saying, organization is one of the keys to happiness. You took something a step further, and you said that you're not necessarily organized, you're prioritized. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. I'm not going to put my energy into organizing a bunch of stuff that's not going to make me money or improve my life. So at the stage I'm in right now, and Maria's in a similar place, where there's all of these opportunities, friends and people thrown at us every day. So I have to pick the top 10 or 12 that mean something to me and prioritize only on those. I'm not going to organize them all. I'm not going to work in something that's past the capacities that I have in time, resources, or whatever. So I don't organize, I prioritize. And then I'm very big picture oriented. I keep people around me who focus on details and keep the ball moving. But I find that the best thing that I can do is move the big balls, get trained people around me to move the little pieces that go with it.
Gotcha. Your role models are Thomas Jefferson and Howard Hughes. Why starting with Jefferson?
Jefferson was an unbelievable, an individual who was all about self-reliance. Thomas Jefferson believed certain things that philosophically I connect with, that you shouldn't be given things, you should work for them. When you work for them, you should have certain rights for the work that you've done, right? A certain status, a certain ability in life. Thomas Jefferson created relationships with other countries, broke down barriers, and had a way of negotiating, but stuck up for not everyone. He stuck up for the people that worked. He stuck up for the performers. He didn't stick up for everyone. And I believe in our society today that the view of helping everyone has hurt the one who works the hardest sometimes.
Wow.
And that's deep. And believe me, I'm all for everyone having the best dinner on their table that they can. And I give away a lot of money. I gave away a lot of money last week to a food bank in Dallas. I gave them $40,000 last week. So I'm all about helping people. But the fact of the matter is the people that help themselves should get something for it. And Jefferson was a proponent of that. I don't believe this specifically, but Jefferson believed that if you weren't a property owner, you shouldn't vote. There's no stake in the game.
Wow.
People who vote just to take from a government are always going to vote for the check, and that's what's best. People that aren't voting for a check vote for what's best. There's a philosophy there, and I'm not suggesting that people shouldn't vote, because of course everybody should. And I'm just looking.
But there's a philosophy. Whether it's
Yes.
maybe it's in just having a working 25+ hours a week
Yes.
and paying that. So we know you're contributing taxes.
Yeah. And what bothers me
you're
about
right.
the past few years, and Jefferson's words are powerful, during the past few years, because of the economy we're in, sometimes the people who got screwed the most were the people that worked. Lost their jobs, got hours cut back. The working people got screwed.
Yeah.
There's something that is inherently wrong about that, and Jefferson would turn over in his grave.
What's
over
the
that.
trickle-down effect? So
is.
we get hit for almost 60% in taxes, and when everything went awry for us, the first things our business manager said was, "Okay, lose your gardener, lose your maid, and all those things." So you might say, "Oh yeah, poor you and your high-class problems." Well, the reason why I said no, we can't cut that. I actually went and cut cable TV. I cut all these other things. Those people are A, my friends, and B, they work. So you just took away
a job.
They're depending on that. My housekeeper's depending on that.
Of course.
That salary. My landscaper's depending on that salary. My pool man.
Abraham Lincoln once said, if you want to take care of the employees, protect the employer.
Wow.
It's deep.
I say wow
We're
too many times.
too focused on the employees and not on the employer. And I just, I think that if we don't get it together and understand how the flow of money works and go back to some of these principles, then, I wonder where we're going to wind up, and that concerns me. So that's one of the reasons why I really have an admiration for Jefferson.
For Jefferson. Howard Hughes.
Howard Hughes, Howard Hughes was a guy who made movies, created a drill bit for drilling oil that changed the world, created the uplift bra, for Christ's sakes, invented and owned the patent on the uplift bra, invented pressurized cabins for airplanes, invented collapsible landing gear for airplanes. The same guy who invented the uplift bra invented collapsible landing gear for airplanes and produced some wonderful movies. Developed half of Las Vegas.
Right.
He had a diversification and an ability to make money and take risk, unlike anyone who's really lived in our society. Look at the spruce goose. I mean, look at the things that he did in his life. He was a remarkable man. We wouldn't have air travel today without him. We wouldn't have movies in the way we have them today without him.
You've said the same about Disney because Disney's in your book.
Walt Disney's another one.
I feel the same way.
He carved his own path. He went down that path, and he went down it with conviction. Stuck his own wallet on the line, the future of his family on the line. He was a risk taker, and boy, if you're gonna take a risk, do it in your own dreams.
And what I find aspirational about Walt, and I knew Maria does the Disney Parade for ABC every year, and I get to know the people I've worked, some of them been there 50, 60 years, and they're the people I love talking to because they knew Walt and they tell me all the stories.
And they speak as if he's still alive.
Yes. And one of the big misconceptions is that he did not have a lot of money at the end of his life. He had put so much money back into his dreams, he didn't really have a lot of money, number one. Number two, he wasn't so much concerned with, I'm going to rule the world, I'm going to be an emperor, which unfortunately, literally every kid that I meet with when I give career seminars and such says, I want to rule the world. I want to take over the world. And I said, geez, guys, have you ever met a nice person that rules the world? You ever met a nice dictator?
His name is Putin.
Yeah, right. I said, but with Walt, he wanted his art to touch the world.
Yes.
He wanted to have an effect on the masses, a positive effect on the masses.
Families.
On families. And he did. And what is that worth?
More than any dollar you could ever get. I'm looking at your book there, and my book there, and I got to tell you a story. I was in Atlanta airport a few weeks ago, and I'm waiting at 6 in the morning for them to call my number so I can get my breakfast sandwich in between planes. And some 23, 24-year-old young urban kid comes up to me, missing half his teeth. And he says to me, "You're John Taffer." I said, "I am." He goes, "I used to be a dishwasher, and I'm a manager now because of you."
I love that.
He says, "Can I give you a hug?" I said, "Sure." So he gave me a hug. I hugged him back. And when we let go, he was teared up, and so was I. And I realized, Kevin, this is not about money. Yeah. To think that my little television show can motivate somebody in Dubuque, Iowa, and Des Moines, and Chicago, and maybe inspire them to be an entrepreneur, save a job, cause their bar to make more money so they can send a kid to college. It's really powerful to me.
What was the quote that your grandfather said about when you die? When you die, this is a long time ago.
Yes. When you die, how thick your phone book is means much more than how thick your checkbook is.
Right. And when we talked about you, when I had told you that someone that I had known had told me, if you notice when people are on deathbeds, it's never about how much, they're never telling you how much money they made. It's always how many lives they affected, whether it was their children or whether they saved lives or they volunteered here, or at least I did this or at least I did that. At the end of the day, people, so I believe you when you say that.
Oh, nothing means more to me. If I can make a little positive impact before I go and a few dollars along the way, wow, that's terrific.
I know personally, how Nicole, your wife, is one of your biggest supporters and champions, and Maria, my girlfriend, and I have a similar relationship in that way. But marriage to a bar owner or any business owner is tough. Why do you and Nicole succeed where, let's say, your last marriage and other marriages didn't and don't?
Two reasons. The first one is respect. We really respect each other. She knows that I'd rather be home. I mean, I traveled 40 weeks this year shooting Bar Rescue, Kev. 40 frickin' weeks on the road. She knows I want to be home with her. She knows I'm not on the road because I choose to be. I respect our relationship. She respects the fact that she knows me. I want to be home with her, and I can't be. So we don't allow the separation to get between us. She flies. She's with me about half the time. The other element is we're not just husband and wife, and we're not just intimate. We are best friends. And there's nobody I'd rather be with than Nicole. There's nobody I'd rather hang out with. There's nobody I'd rather go to a movie with, go to dinner with, travel with, etc. So to me, I'm married to my best friend. Your best friend always forgives you when you screw up.
Right.
Your best friend is always happy to see you. Your best friend is always happy to help you. Husbands and wives sometimes don't fit into those roles. Sometimes your wife isn't the one who's going to support you every time in a classic sense. Friendship comes first. And Nicole and I were great friends before we ever became boyfriend and girlfriend.
So what do you say to the bar owner that, you know how bars are, that, you know, maybe he needs to get off the ground. You've got to be there 7 days and 7 nights a week. And so think of all the divorce rate, how big it is in the bar business.
But not only that, you're surrounded by sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
So what do you do?
Well, first of all, I've never slept with an employee ever. It starts there. So you know, and my wife knows that that's not going to happen. Period. End of discussion. So there's no concerns about that. You know, I'm an advocate for the women that work for me. I'm not a predator upon them.
Right.
And the people that work for me know that. So there's no jealousies and things like that in it. But, you know, at the end of the day, the bar business isn't a job. It's a lifestyle. You work until 2, 3, 4 in the morning. You're sleeping half the day. It is difficult to have relationships that way.
Would you recommend, if you're not in one, maybe to forego it for a while?
Well, I'll tell you this. You know, my daughter left the bar business to get a normal 9-to-5 job in a liquor distributor company, and I'm pretty supportive of that change because there's no way in the world she's going to have a normal marriage, be a mother, raise a family in that type of an environment. So the bar business is great for people who want that lifestyle. But understand, it's not a job. You're not coming home at 5 in the afternoon and having dinner with your family. That ain't going to happen.
We joke about being working in Hollywood. I go back to The Sopranos. This is the life we chose. I always
Well
say that.
said.
This is the life we chose.
Well said, and I just want to wet my beak.
Yeah. Which, yeah. But, you know, but I think when people go in, when civilians go into the bar life, they don't understand. I've had family members who want to get involved in this. It's the childhood dream of most of us guys. And I say,
tough,
guys,
Kev.
it's a way of life, and I don't think that's what you want. I don't think you want a way of life. I think you want a breakfast place.
People look at it foolishly. They say, oh, well, bottle of vodka costs $40. You can sell it for $120. You have to make money. Well, sure. So the drink costs $1. I sell it for $5. But what the guy didn't think about is the rent, the utilities, the insurance, the payroll, the taxes, all of the other costs that go into running the business.
And getting people in there.
Getting people in. If your bar is busy, you can make about 18% profit from all the dollars you bring in. If your bar isn't busy, you'll be losing $10,000, $15,000 a month before you know it. And bars will suck up money when they lose money. And now you don't have the money to make your bar better because you don't have the dollars to staff it, etc. So you're on a spiral course of failure. The number one reason why I've been successful in the bar business, I believe, is A, I don't hang out in bars. Never have. To me, bars are for working, not hanging out in. 2, I'm not a big drinker. You know that about me.
Right.
I'll have maybe 20, 25 drinks a year. Sure, I'll drink with a couple of friends, but I am not a drinker per se. If I go to a bar, it's to be with friends. 90% of the time I'll have a soft drink. Sometimes I'll have a cocktail. But I don't go out to get drunk. That's just not something I do. And 3, the customers are for the customers. I don't hit on people in bars where I work back in my single days. So if I didn't have those traits, Kev, if I succumbed to the social aspect of it, succumbed to the drinking aspect of it, succumbed to the women around me, everybody wants to know the bar owner, I'd fail. And that's a lot of the reasons why bar operators fail. I'm a businessman, and you know that about me.
Yeah, of course.
I live every day to make money. That bar is a place of business to me. It is not a social place.
Is there a way, so as we're speaking to our fans at home that are aspiring to do this, or even doing it, maybe not succeeding, is there a way where they can balance that? Because I can see where for them they would be a little social, and maybe they're not going to be John Taffer and own a chain, or but is there a way to balance
There
it
is.
being a little familial and social and having
There
a
is.
nice little local pub?
There is. And I'm considering just opening 5 or 6 of my own, because I used to own 17 big bars and things years ago. If you have a partner who owns 10 or 20% of it who works there, a head bartender,
Love it.
somebody who does it. So you have somebody who has some stake in the game, who will protect the business when you're not there. You can be there 3 nights a week, be home 4 nights a week. You can work Friday and Saturday
You
nights.
might be describing the formula for this to work for a lot of people.
Well, it is. So for me, if I were to own 5 neighborhood bars, let's say, or 1 neighborhood bar, and you were a great bartender who I trusted, and you've done this here with AfterBuzz with key people.
Absolutely.
I would say, you know what, Kev? I'm going to give you a piece of the cash flow of this bar. You're getting 20% of the profits.
Mm-hmm.
If you work for me for 3 years, that'll become equity. You'll own it with me. So, but you better keep your business clean.
That's right. Keep your
You better
business.
keep your customers happy.
Right.
You better keep our costs in line. And you pull them into it. Now, Outback, the restaurant chain, does that with their general managers. Each general manager tends to own 10% of the store. So it isn't that unusual principle. My point is this. If you're going to open it and run it yourself, then understand you have no life. So either you have to have a manager you trust,
Who I think gets ownership, as you said, or has the potential.
some minority partner
Yes.
who you can provide a future with. And that's the way to do it. And you can be home 4 or 5 minutes.
You know, I
a
always
week.
say I think today's business model is collaboration, not exploitation. I think the past was exploitive, and it worked for our generation of my dad, my grandfather, who were just honest, hardworking guys that would crawl over glass for you. But today's people won't do that. They have to have an ownership stake.
Yeah. Also, this will surprise you. It is much easier the easiest job I ever had is when I was general manager of a big resort.
Why do you say that?
Because I had a huge staff around me. I had department heads running every department. I had hundreds of employees. When I ran Pulsations, the big club you're talking about, I had about 300 employees. We did, in 1983 when we opened that club, we did $647,000 our first week open. So I don't do anything when I run a property like that. I strategically lead. I have meetings. I manage my department heads. When you own a small bar, you're sweeping the freaking floors.
Right.
So the big bar with a big staff around you is actually easier to run.
Does work. You also have said that to be a bar owner is one of the most rewarding professions there is. And tell me.
Well, a couple of things, and I say this out of pride. I run our industry's biggest convention. Before Bar Rescue, I was the face of our industry. I love this business, Kev. It means more to me than just money. The second public building ever built in America was a bar. The first was a church. They were called public houses. Our Constitution was written first in a public house. Our Bill of Rights, our state borders, our revolution. All of this was discussed in pubs. There were no hotel meeting rooms. There were no city halls. You went to the public house. That's where you did your business, met your friends, did everything. The first distiller in America was George Washington. Made 10,000 gallons of bourbon every year. One of the first vintners in America was Thomas Jefferson. Bars are in the fiber of our country. Think of the marriages, the business deals, the progress for our country and for individual life that's made in great bars. How they can be a great part of a community. I look at this business as so important to the fiber of America. And when I wake up every day, I say to myself, what do I do for a living? I make people smile. When I do well, people smile. When I do well, people don't come to me because they have to. They come to me because they want to.
Right.
That's not a bad legacy.
And it's joy, and it does bring a lot of joy. When we watch Bar Rescue, every time we see the reveal, we want to run out to a bar. We get so excited. It
fun.
looks amazing. The music. I want a nice cold beer or a nice vodka drink. I get excited.
I mean, who's looking forward to going to the dentist? Who's looking forward to going to get to the body shop for
crazy,
their car?
You know what? Someone crazy like me likes the dentist because I can fall asleep in the chair and not be bothered by Maria. But
I get that. I know
Yeah.
Maria. I understand. My point is, you look forward to going to a bar.
yes,
I have a business that people enjoy going to.
to see you.
It's wonderful. And it's a great legacy. And the fact that I can make you smile more, dance more, party more, meet more people, that's a great thing, Kev.
You'll have the backs of employees if they're honest, if they care, and they'll try.
Every time. And I'll bury them if they don't. I have, it's interesting. The food and beverage industry has about 100% turnover every year. That's the statistic. Restaurants, nightclubs, bars. When I had my 17 and I had about 980 employees. I never quite crossed 1,000, but I was really close to it. I ran an annual turnover rate of under 30%. So people watch me on Bar Rescue and think I'm tough. I am. I'm going to train you. I'm going to teach exactly what to do, tell you exactly how to do it. And then if you do it, boy, do I have your back. If you don't, I'll blow you out in a minute. My employees know where they stand every day. I have no turnover. My nightclub and bar crew has been with me for years. I have very little turnover around me because I'm honest. And I believe that when you lose an employee, it's your fault, Kev. Either you shouldn't have hired him, you didn't train him right, or you didn't manage him right. Every one we lose, it's our fault.
This is so much about taking responsibility for your own shortcomings as well.
And the way you treat the people around you. You know, I treat people with dignity. Yeah, I scream and yell at them. But remember, I'm screaming and yelling at them because I have 5 days to change their life. I don't typically scream at employees that work for me that way.
I've always said, you know, Phil knows this too, the honest care trying. So if someone's honest, if they're trying and they care, everything else can be figured out.
You got it.
But I do know a lot of owners and bosses who value so many other things. So they might have someone honest who cares and tries, but makes mistakes here and there, and they hammer them and get rid of them for those things. And then they'll embrace other people who might be prolific in other areas. But to me, I think if someone's honest, if they care and they try, and Phil, I'd love to think that the staff at AfterBuzz, I mean, all the individuals we have here, Stephen. Well, Stephen, so good. You're the most corrupt out of all of them, but wouldn't you say that you care and you try?
Every day.
Yeah, I see it. I mean, he does. He comes in his free time.
If he cares and he tries, then all you need to do is teach him what to do.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't do the right thing, who the hell's fault is it?
Yeah,
George.
Absolutely. And Stephen, don't I always say it's my fault?
You do.
At the end of the day, I go, guys, it's my fault.
So then, Stephen, why is it that you screw up so much then? I'd like to understand that.
He doesn't now. He doesn't. No, he's great. I mean,
I don't know that. I just said it to mess with him.
No, well, you've heard us maybe rag on him on the show. Now it's just become a running joke. But, you know, Stephen, he's just a young kid in his 20s finding his way in Hollywood. And, Stephen, how long now have you been here? Solid here? A year, 2 years?
2.5 years now.
2.5 years, and so now he's right at the top brass, running the place. Yeah, it's great. It's been a great story.
He's a good guy. Phil, on the other hand,
Phil's the problem.
Is the one. Yeah, that's the issue.
And Phil, poor Phil, is the epitome of honest, caring, and trying. And we should probably tell everyone the joke. So Phil Svitek, he runs AfterBuzz. And John, tell a story when you met him.
Well, when I met him, he had a beard. And I hadn't seen him with a beard before when I've seen him on AfterBuzz. So I made some comment to him. I thought he actually looked pretty good with his beard, right? He actually looked over 21 for a change.
Right.
So when I looked at him, I made some sarcastic comment about his beard, like you look like, I don't know, you look like a rabbi. I don't know what the hell I said to him.
Yeah.
And suddenly, the next day, I see Phil, and he has no beard. So why don't you tell the story from there?
Well, it was you were making an analogy about a story. You were telling us a story, and it would be like me saying to Phil, you know, you look like a rabbi with that beard. But it wasn't saying there was anything wrong necessarily with the beard. You were saying it would be if I felt that, you know. And poor Phil, because he looks up to you so much, the beard came right off.
Shaved the beard the next day.
Right off.
So of course, continuing to mess with Phil, as I enjoy doing, I looked at him, and the first thing I said to him when I saw him the next day is, boy, you look much better with the beard.
Yeah. And you know, John, we were so on edge just even having you here. You know, we had talked about it in the last, say, year and a half, 2 years, but we were nervous because we know how high your standards are. But it's helped us so much, because it's a lot of stuff. I'm the dad and I'm the broken record, but when they hear it from someone else who's more successful, who's older, and now they all watch the show, they at least, you know, Stephen, you would say now you understand the why. It's not just saying, hey guys, there's fingerprints on the door moldings when people come in and we need to clean those. You understand the why now, Stephen, don't you?
Yeah, it's the big picture.
Yeah.
It's pride. It's when you walk in here, you want to see pride.
And you want to manage that reaction.
Of course. If I don't think that you have pride in what you're doing here, then, you know, how comfortable am I going to be sitting in front of your camera?
We're going to get into, you know, quickly with some of the tools that, you know, you sell to aspiring bar owners. But where so many of us guys want to open a bar, and then more and more people are going to move on that dream. Can you give me 5 or so basic must-do steps that I take if I'm opening a bar?
Yes. Yeah, sure. The first one, and this isn't said to be self-serving, go to the nightclub and bar convention. There's 700 booths in the Las Vegas Convention Center of everything you can imagine. You'll learn about every product, every liquor, every POS system, furnishing. You'll see and you'll learn.
And you said, so because I was going to get into this later, but now we're into it. You said that these are the most important 3 days of the year.
They are.
For people in the bar and restaurant business.
Industry.
So let's talk about it. So let's talk about the nightclub and bar convention. It's trade shows once a year in Las Vegas.
Once a year in Las Vegas. It's 3 days.
Okay.
The website is ncbshow.com. If anybody's curious to see it, there's videos and stuff on there.
Okay.
And it's 700 booths, 70 educational classes, and 3 days of the best parties of the year. And it's not just parties to look at technologies and entertainment and experience in nightclubs. So 700 booths, everything from POS systems to chairs.
So I'm going to go to that, and I'm going to learn so much. And by the way, I probably should keep going if I open a business.
You have to go every year. Then there's classes there. You know, how to do a marketing plan, how to do a budget, how to do a startup, how to design, how to merchandise, how to market, how to do a beverage menu, how to do a food menu, how to hire, how to train. Every class you could imagine is there, and they're the industry's best. And start there. Because the problem is, if you go online, there's not a lot of books in the bar business. There's no class you can go to in the bar business. There's no bar management classes to go to.
That's the problem.
So Nightclub and Bar Show is the best. Then there's another website called nightclub.com, which is the portal to the industry. All the promotions are there. The recipes are there. Marketing information, promotional information. So there's great resources like that out there. But here's the thing with opening a bar. I believe that if you want to do it, you should do it. But understand that it's a tough business, and you might not make money the first few months, so have extra money. Let me tell you a quick story. I opened a restaurant in Mall of America years ago, and it was open for me. The landlord gave me the money. And I opened this restaurant, and I'm tracking it over $4 million a year in sales. It's a lot of money back then. But I'm losing about $60,000, $70,000 a month because the restaurant is so busy, and it's so new, we don't have our costs under control yet, right? We're wasting, and too many bodies in the room, and I ran out of money in the third month doing $4 million a year in sales. So I found a partner. At the last minute, I was desperate. I needed money. I sold them 50% of the business for $150,000. 2 months later, the business turned the corner of profitability. And the first year it profited $800,000. The second year it profited $1,800,000. And this guy owned half of this restaurant for $150,000. Had I had a little more money, I would have turned that corner of profitability.
On your own.
It's almost like Vince Lombardi with a football game. They didn't lose, they just ran out of time. There's a lot of bars and other businesses that would be profitable if they just had the money to make it another month or two and figure it out, perfect it, get better at it. So if you don't have the experience, have some extra money to pay for your mistakes.
Gotcha.
Because you need one of the two. Make sure that you have 30% more money than you think you need. Things are going to cost more. They're going to take longer. You're going to run into issues. Don't hire any friends. Not one friend. Hire people that are professionals that are there to make money, period. And then run it like a business. Don't run it like your basement. And, you know, those are the lessons that I would teach. But I would say this, that the statistical likelihood of a first-time bar operator succeeding, I am told, and we don't track this that closely, is about 10 to 12 to 1 succeed, almost like a first TV show. Wow. But the second time that same guy opens a bar, the odds of him succeeding are 3 in 1. The third time, it's 2 in 1.
Same bar owner hit his third crack.
Owner. So after you make your first mistakes, the second time you're much better at it. The third time, you're really good at it. Have enough money to fix your errors the first time,
right? And
you'll be okay.
Just so much in life is, you know, I always say run it like a marathon, not a sprint.
And be prepared to work your ass off. You bet, because it is a marathon.
It's a long, long haul.
But when it works, Kev, it makes a lot of money.
And it's great lifestyle.
I mean, you can pull, you know, $50,000 to $200,000 a month out of a great bar easy.
That's okay.
That's okay. That's
I
good.
could live with that.
I bet you could.
It's
a start for Maria.
I believe in for Maria maybe not, but for me it's fine. I believe so much in education. So, you know, whether it's for filmmaking and, you know, as many classes as you can take. We have our hosts. We have 200 hosts at AfterBuzz, and they'll always say, should I take classes? And I'd say, well, if you can afford them, absolutely. Even if they're not the best teachers, it doesn't matter. You'll always get something. So I'm super big on education. One of the problems we had here at AfterBuzz, we were really the first pure online broadcast network in existence. So Phil and I had to learn the technology on our own.
You're the educators.
Yeah, now I can teach everybody, and I do all of our friends. But I look at some of your looking at some of your multimedia tools that are available. You have one on menu design, human resources, promotion dynamics, grand opening. And to me, this is a very short money investment. I'm not just saying this because you're my friend. I hope you know me by now to know that I would totally run my credit card and buy all of these things.
We sell a bunch of them. So they're available on my website now. Those are 4 books. I wrote those books before Bar Rescue. I mean, these have been available for the industry. We sell, I guess, about $20,000 a month worth of those books. And it's simple. You go to the website, you buy them, they're downloaded. We update them every couple of years. And I'm writing 2 more now. But I'm most excited about Taffer TV.
So I know, yeah. So we're gonna get to Taffer TV. I just can't say enough though to be able to go here and spend this short amount of money on designing your menu, on how to handle your staff, on how to promote and how to get the business out there, and then even the grand opening. I get very excited seeing it, even though I'm not a bar owner. I'm just your typical guy that wishes he owned a bar one day, like everybody.
What's great about those books is they're B2B books. So they're written in a B2B way, business to business. So every one of those books has very defined action steps in it. So when you read the book, it's not just information. It tells you what to do. So you know the steps that you need to take. So they're sort of what I call hand-holding books. They lead you through a process.
And some of the principles are, I will tell you as an outsider, are more general than you think. And we've benefited tremendously doing digital broadcasting, tremendously from your philosophy and Raise the Bar. Everyone at AfterBuzz has had to read this book, and everyone from AfterBuzz has to watch Bar Rescue. We don't do that. I don't have everyone watching American Idol or Breaking Bad.
That's
everyone
why my ratings are so high.
Yes. Yes. But everyone does, and at first it was that they were rolling their eyes, why we have to do this. Now, of course, they're all fans, but I know when Phil has his staff meetings, he's always going back to, John says this, or if you notice on Bar Rescue that. I can't say enough how great some of these tools are and how it's a no-brainer. Just even for general business, even if it was a sandwich shop, I bet you anything, most of the stuff would apply.
What's interesting as a bar guy and as a brand, and this is fascinating to me, you'll find this fascinating. I go from Playboy Morning Radio to Lou Dobbs' show on Fox. And it's really remarkable.
That doesn't surprise me, though.
So, in a given week, I'll do Playboy Radio, where I'm standing around naked girls pitching breast runt concepts to me on radio, to a Fox and Friends or a Lou Dobbs or a Closing Bell. It's fascinating how the respect as a business person and a bar person creates such different images. As a bar person, standing around naked women in Playboy makes perfect sense. But yet you'd never put a person who would do that on a business television channel. So I find the whole thing actually really surprising. It's an interesting position that I'm in now. At the end of the day, you know me, Kev. I'm a small business guy. I'm a real small business advocate. All types of small business I really support, and I'm involved in a bunch of them. So I'm much more of a businessman than a bar guy in the end.
What still blows me away is how you turned it into such a science without the education.
And I wish I could tell you that was intentional. I'm just a freaking nutcase. I analyze and analyze and analyze everything. And I've always been that way. So I have this ability to analyze and extract sciences from bars environment and stuff that other people were in the room the same 30 years I was. They didn't see it.
Do you do the same thing? Because I do this whether I'm at, these guys probably get annoyed me. I'll go into a Taco Bell and I'll notice that they've renovated their brand.
Everything.
The computers now, they have the monitor when you do drive through. I'm always watching McDonald's because they do it very well.
Yep.
They'll knock down a building that's 15 years old. And why would you knock down? But they know better. And so I'm always watching them. Are you also watching other
That's what
places
I do for a living.
outside
I
of the bar?
also have clients. I consult to Fridays. Anheuser-Busch is a big client of mine. So,
But again, those are still restaurant and bar. Are you... I'm going to a movie theater and
my point is, as a professional, I have to know what these trends are and what people are doing. So when McDonald's does something, you bet I notice. But any restaurant I walk into, my eyes
What about
go
a general
everywhere.
business, like a movie theater, let's say?
Oh, absolutely.
You always watch
and I'll walk in and I'll see, boy, they blew it. They could have made, more money here. They could have done this. Boy, that's nice merchandising here. This is great there. I'm always learning from everything.
Radar always up.
Yeah, always.
Always up. Okay, so tell us about Taffer TV.
You know, I've done these seminars around the world for 30 years. And then when Bar Rescue made me more famous, I did a rescue tour. Last year I did 5 cities. And we sold out every seat in the 5 cities. And I got hundreds of emails from people that are saying, we couldn't go to the seminar, we couldn't travel, is it on video? Is it on video? Is it on video? And I realized that there's hundreds, if not thousands, of bar operators and owners and entrepreneurs out there that wanted this, but I couldn't bring it to them because they couldn't travel. So I went out, I spent a fortune, I just built a beautiful studio in Las Vegas at Taffer Media Offices, and it's a beautiful 3-camera studio with post-production facilities and audio booths, and I put an 18-foot bar in it. And I created Taffer TV, and Taffer TV is a subscription TV service for the bar industry where you get 5 pieces of content every month. Wow. One is called Taffer Time, which is a management training class where I will give you an objective. So let's say this month I'm going to say, Kevin, our goal this month is to raise guest counts by 5%. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to do this, 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 this. Next month, we're going to increase spend by $1 a guest or whatever it is. So that's a management training program. Promotion Rescue is a promotion show every month that teaches them how to do promotions and provides 5 to 6 promotions every month. So in June, we'll be talking about football promotions. In February, we'll be talking about spring promotions and things like that. The next show is Taffer Training, which is a 20-minute show every month for their employees. A training video that they can actually use for their employees. And the last one is Taffer Talk. The fourth one, rather, is Taffer Talk, which is me interviewing the best distillers, bartenders, DJs, owners, operators in the world to determine what made them successful. And the last one is a specialty show where I have like Russell Davis coming on to do bartending for owners.
It's great to get other people's perspectives because I always say, there isn't one way to get to success. There's several different roads. And I'm always, hey, you know what? If that way works, it's great. I'm open to that as well.
You bet. 2 GPS systems might take you 2 different ways.
But you'll still get to the same.
You're still going to get there.
You'll still get there.
And which one has the more pleasant ride? We're not going to know till we try.
Right. So we have to go through the process.
You got it. So let's take the risk.
You know, and one of the last things I want to say is how much you helped. Maria recently was looking for an executive assistant in our business. As you know, your executive assistant, it's more than just an assistant. You really have to be on it.
Especially in our business.
So you gave us the best advice for hiring about the 10, is it the 10 adjectives?
Yes.
Okay, so because I had to do this, mind you, John, and I had to write down.
And it helped, didn't it?
It helped so much.
Yeah.
Please tell us. And so
we call it the Taffer 8 adjective answer. And what it was years ago in all my corporate consulting work for big hotel companies and such, they have these big, thick human resource manuals in the offices. And they're covered with 2 inches of frickin' dust because nobody uses them, and they're these big legal documents and stuff. So I said, screw this. I'm going to write down 8 adjectives for every job description in my business. So for a waitress, it would be something like appealing, sense of humor, energetic, loves music, likes to dance, dynamic, right? Something like that. I'll find these adjectives. For an accounting person, it'd be very different words. Patient, detail-oriented, conforming. For a bartender in a sports bar, it'd be words like energetic, sports fan, great sense of humor, et cetera, et cetera. So then what I do is I break down the interview, and I love the interview process. What a crock of garbage this is. So you come in for an interview, Kevin, I say to you, so you good under pressure?
Yes.
You know what the hell I want to hear. You say yes, then 4 hours later I hire you crying in a corner, we're not even busy yet. So I can't do that. So I'm going to be looking at my 8 adjectives, and let's say one of my adjectives is sense of humor. If I ask you, do you have a sense of humor, you're going to say yes. So I'm going to say to you, gee, Kev, talk to me about high school. What'd you like to do in high school? Oh, I hung with the librarian every day. I was in a library every day. What shows do you like to watch? Oh, History Channel. I watch World War II shows. That's all I watch. I mean, I can ask you questions about your personal life and in a few sentences put yes or no next to sense of humor. I can ask you what you do with your free time. Put yes or no next to a whole bunch of words. So I'm going to talk to you about high school. What did you do with your free time? What did you like? And I'm going to start putting yeses or nos next to these adjectives. Never asking you. Always talking and extracting it through conversation. At the end of the interview process, if I don't have 6 yeses over those 8 adjectives, I don't care if the Pope sent you, I will not hire you.
Wow. Okay, so we just saved people millions and millions and millions of dollars in headaches just with that.
Because at the end of the day, it is an experience, it's personality that matters. You give me somebody with the perfect personality for AfterBuzz,
Right.
and it's 2 weeks of time with you, and you're gonna have a superstar.
Hire for heart, train for skill.
You got it.
That's the big thing. Wow, John, what's left to accomplish?
Well, I'm about to open a few places in Las Vegas. I'm excited about that. Some bars.
Wow.
I'm looking at a TV show concept that I'm working on with a friend of mine, Maria Menounos. That's sort of exciting that I'm looking
it's
at right
very
now. That I'm
exciting.
sort of excited about. And a few other projects. But Kev, life is great. There's always something fun around the corner.
And always something new.
And that's what's exciting. And as we said earlier, we got to keep our mind open to the future projects, future ideas, whether they're our own or they're from other people. And I listen to everyone around me. And that's how I learn.
Guys, the book is Raise the Bar. The show is Bar Rescue. Also, look for Hungry Investor.
Premiering May 11th.
May 11th, which I'm sure we're going to have you back in to talk about that. John, thank you for coming into my life. Thank you for Bar Rescue. And obviously, thank you for coming into Spotlight On and sitting with us.
Well, I sit here with respect, Kev. You built a hell of a business here in AfterBuzz.
Oh.
So hats off to you, my brother.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, we'll see you guys again. Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Go ahead, John.
I'm going to shut this beep down.
Yeah.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.